What up? What up? Welcome back to another episode of the Account for Life podcast. And today, this is Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, help you to account for your life. What an awesome and incredible Friday! Look, we are closing out the month of June of 2024, and man, June has been a doozy. But I'm almost certain that the rest of the year, should we all be here, is going to be a doozy. So look, as we close out June of 2024, I want to talk, and I want to talk with you and about this thing called faith. Let's talk about faith. Let's get down to the heart of the matter today. And look, I'm just going to kind of just go with it. Yesterday I talked about the three struggles that faith-driven entrepreneurs or business owners have, which is their faith and their fitness and their finances. And so we went, we kind of like went into it somewhat. Today we're going to talk more about faith, because I think that this is the foundation of our whole life experience is faith. But is it faith? Man, but is it really faith, or do we have it twisted? So guys, if you are a business owner, if you're someone who's looking to get to a new level, look, first thing, business people, you want to get this book, Beyond Tax Strategy. This is going to give you some foundational knowledge for tax strategy in your business to save money, so you don't waste time and money. Then if you're a business owner, if you're an individual who want to up-level their life, personal growth. Look, personal growth leads to business growth. Business growth doesn't lead to personal growth. Personal growth leads to business growth. And living your life on the next level and next level faith are books you should definitely get. It's a trilogy. You should go on to Amazon, search for Jay Moore, or search for one of the books, find the book, click on my name, get all the books, have them delivered to your house, and read them next month. So that as a part of your personal development journey. So let's get in. Truth about faith. So I said, or is it faith? Do we have it twisted? I think so. And the reason why I say we have it twisted. Now we can get biblical and scripture if you would like. So faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That's Hebrews 11:1. Then you got faith comes by hearing, and by hearing the word of God. That's, what's that, Romans 10:17. So, and there's a bunch of scriptures on faith. But let me ask you a question. Is your faith stronger merely because you read it? Is your faith stronger merely because you go to church? Is your faith stronger because you have joined the church and now you have a position in the church and you're doing stuff for the church? Is your faith really stronger? Why? Because the reason why I'm saying ask you that question, because let me ask you a question, like how's your marriage? How's your health? How's your money? How's your finances? How's your business? Like, how's all the areas of your life that matters? Good friend of mine, Myron Edmonds, he has a men's group, the Winning Circle. And one thing he talks about for men, he talks about winning in life in the things that matter. Your marriage matters, right? It's not just about going to church now. Your marriage matters. How do we get ourselves to a point where our marriage is important? Our finances are important, but our kids are important. The whole thing is important. And see, here's the thing. It's not faith. Or it's not the word faith. See, because the word faith, I'm going to tell you what that does. It puts a gap between you and where you want to go. Now, I'm not saying that, faith is a bad word or anything like that, because I have absolute faith. Absolute faith means something totally different, because absolute faith means something. This is it. Listen. If we were trying to get anywhere, we're trying to get to a point where we know something and don't have to think about it. Oh, yeah. I know you probably wonder, what are you talking about, Jay? All right. So let me ask you a question. Do you remember, or do you have to think about brushing your teeth? Do you have to think about waking up in the morning? You just do it. Do you have to think about walking and talking and putting on your clothes and eating? Do you have to think about driving your car? You don't have to think about any of these things. You never have to think about them. They just, for some reason, once you believed. So believe is like the first level. I believe I can drive. So I remember the first time, not me, but I remember I took my son Jacob out the first time. He had never driven a car. He didn't even play driving games. And I remember I went to my friend Marcus's house and I said, Jacob, you can drive home. He had never driven. I said, get in the car. Let's drive. That was scary. But he believed that he could drive, even though he couldn't drive, even though he was terrible at it. But he believed it. And that belief led to him having a little bit of faith that I think I can do it even if mommy and daddy not in the car. And then that belief led him to knowing that it doesn't matter. He can just drive. See, there's levels to this game, right? But the problem I'm finding for faith-driven people, we forget that we actually have to do something. We forget, we just assume that just because I love God and God is going to take care of all of my needs. God says, look, you're going to get what you get based on what you do. This is all in the Bible. Now in the Bible, there is a parable that Jesus went through. I can't remember exactly what chapter in Matthew it's in, but it's in there. And you know it's the parable of the talents. And so you got three guys, because people of faith, we want to know that this is scripture. This is from the Bible. That's the part that sometimes it's just like, hey, let's just get practical. I love the Bible, but we still got to be practical. The Bible is a tool that as believers, we can use it to our advantage, but we don't. We call ourselves having this book. It's the good book. We call ourselves having this thing that can change our lives, but our lives don't change. Our lives stay the same. And the one thing that irked me once I got older was, well, Jesus is coming back. So there's no need in all this other stuff because all this stuff going to burn up. That's what they said. And I used to be like, why are they always talking like that? Like some doom and gloom. And every week it's like, well, if you don't get in today, man, you're going to be lost. That's what they used to do. They still do it. Like I'm with, hey, you should accept Christ. You should absolutely accept Christ. Just like you should return tithes. I love churches that don't stop church to return tithes. I was just at a church where they didn't stop church to return tithes. You can go online, you can leave it in the box. Hey, you do it when you feel like it. It's not about me telling you that, hey man, if you don't give, then you're cursed. This is all stuff that, a lot of us, man, grown up with. I know I grew up with this. So that's what I'm so passionate about. But let's go back to the parable of the talents. In the parable of the talents, you had three guys. You had somebody who was a businessman, who had wisdom. And he comes and says, I got these three guys. I need to leave them with my property. And I'm going to leave them what I know they should have. So he gives one 5, gives the other 2, and gives the other 1. Why did he do that? Because he knew that's what they have demonstrated. That's what they demonstrated. So practically, he knew that the one could, at least what I'm learning from the one, he may not have demonstrated a whole lot, but it was enough to say, I'll just give him this one. Like I shouldn't lose with one with this guy. But at least with the guy with the 2, he probably had already demonstrated. The guy with the 5, they already demonstrated that they could handle it. So here's the thing. There was no faith. That businessman didn't have faith. He says, this is what I know. Now, here's the thing. I think the guy that he gave the 1, it was almost like, I don't think he had proven himself. I personally don't think he proved himself. That's why he only gave him one, because he says, well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And one is, so that's what God does. God's not going to give an unproven person. God's not going to give you millions and millions of dollars, or God's not going to give you a lot of things to manage if you haven't managed anything. See, because at the end of the day, that's what our job is. Our job is to manage something. What are we supposed to manage? Am I supposed to just manage, I got a college degree. Great. My college degree is great. God's like, great. Man, he says, man, that's good. He says, man, if you only knew. This is what God said, if you only knew. Because your college degree is almost not necessary. If you only knew. But I'll allow you to use that college degree, and we'll go ahead and weave that in, because you don't really understand anyway. See, guys, today we're diving into this truth of what faith is, and really what faith is this. Here's what faith truly is. When we go to the scripture and we read, faith is the substance of things hoped for. These are the things that I know is going to happen. I ain't hoping. Hope is one of these things where I am now in the position that I just know this is going to happen. Substance of things hoped for. I know this is going to happen. The evidence of things I'm saying. So I know that I don't have evidence. I can tell you that I have a company that is the world's most successful accounting organization, helping people to account for their life and their business. I don't have evidence. I can't show you that company in the physical, but I know. I don't have faith. I know that is what God gave me. He says, this is what is going to happen. Now, here's the thing. God doesn't tell you when, but there's markers. It's kind of like when you're driving and you're going to a place, and, if I'm going to Atlanta from DC, there's going to be exits. I'm going to be able to notice, hey, I'm at mile marker, 110. I've got 500 more miles to go. There are mile markers along the journey that you can see. And I'm just like, wow. And then he reminds us and shows us different things. Like, I saw some things this month that I didn't quite understand, but he kind of prepped and says, hey, some things going to happen. Don't worry. They're going to be here. It may not feel good, but don't worry. See, a lot of times we go into the state of non-believers. We do, like seriously, like think about. I mean, if someone didn't have what you have, and somebody is a full believer of something, we're a full believer, but they're not. Then I would expect that when certain situations come up, that I would expect how they would act. But believers, man, I was watching The Chosen. This is the only series that I watch. I don't watch any other series. If you haven't seen it, The Chosen, just look it up. They got an app, The Chosen. It's the story of Jesus's life. And so they've done a really good job just kind of making stories around all the stuff that we've read in the Bible. And as I was watching it last week, and it was the episode where Lazarus is going to be raised from the dead. And you could tell, like those, I think episode 6 and 7, Jesus is frustrated because it's like he's got these disciples, he's got these people that should know. Like he keeps filling them in and talking to them, and they are not getting it. Like when you read the Bible, that's what you see. They didn't understand anything. It took him to die and be gone for them to finally get it. Think about that. They had to lose him first before it hit. What about us? Come on now. What about us? These are stories that we use as this is it. Like, yes, we know it now. But think about it. What if you were back then? It's like today. Look at all the interesting things that are happening. You have to watch politics. You've got to watch everything. You got to watch everything because the way the kingdom of heaven works is opposite. It's not the same. The ideology of heaven is not the same as ours. It's totally different. And because it's totally different, you got to have a really good eye. Here's my eye. Oh, everybody's saying this. Oh, I ain't with it. If too many people believe a certain way, I don't believe that way. Now, here's the thing. That may not work for everybody, but it works for me. Here's why it works for me. Because what I read in the Bible, when it says, wide is the gate that leads to destruction, and many people are on this path. Narrow is the way that leads to life. Few travel that road. What? So the narrow path is the path of a person of faith. You are going the opposite direction of everybody. Because if the masses are going one way, that means I should not go that way. Jesus did not go the direction of the religious system of that day. I'm about to hit home. This is where we are going to get to, and this may even be a part 2 tomorrow. Jesus did not go in the direction of religion of that day. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back. Jesus did not go the direction of the religion of that day. He was in that religion and he was not going that direction. See, I had a question to ask you, whoever's watching, whether it's live, whether it's on a replay on YouTube, on the podcast, where you don't see my face, maybe you only hear my voice. I'm going to ask you this question. What direction is everybody going in? What direction is religion going in? What direction is the financial system going in? What direction is health system going in? What direction is like everything? You have to then take a stand for yourself. See, this is what it comes down to. It comes down to what your beliefs, your faith, and then your knowing. Because when you get to knowing, that's where faith leads you. When you get to knowing, it doesn't matter what anybody says. It's like somebody said, you can't tie your shoes. Yeah, I can. There's no way you can tell me I can't. Oh, you don't know how to walk. You can't tell me how to walk. I know how to walk. Oh, you don't know how to do it. Oh, I know how to do it. You can't tell me how. Just because you do it that way don't mean I got to walk that way or talk that way or listen that way. I can do whichever way I want to go. Once you get to knowing, your faith is no longer faith. It's absolute. It's knowing. You know, we all are called to something. And I've been talking to God about my calling and what I'm really here to do and who I'm really here to serve and help. And like I've been going back and forth on this because, you know, I'm as my occupation, I've been an accountant, tax strategist, and someone in that realm. I'm going off in the path of personal development and spiritual enlightenment. I'm going off in the path of health and wellness. And I've been trying to figure out, how does this work out? Like, seriously, show me the path. See, what God wants for us is he want to take your whole life and he want to merge it into one. And he want to take that one life. And then he want to say, hey, there's people that can benefit from your life. And I says, well, who are those people? He said, well, people of faith. People of faith could benefit from your life. I said, well, he said, well, they gotta want personal growth. They have to want personal growth. They have to want to develop in their fitnesses, spiritual, mentally, physically. They got to want to develop in those areas. They also should want to be developing in their financial areas, which really is becoming a business person, being a business person. Look, it can even be a ministry, really, because a ministry is a business. So if we move ourselves and align ourselves in this way, he says personal growth leads to business and all the other growths. He says, son, that's what I've been taking you through for the past 10 years. I've been taking you through a growth channel to get you to the point where you can then really see exactly who you are. Who was the healthy accountant? It's funny. I was in New York last week. I gave a talk, 30-minute talk. And I was like, I'm the healthy accountant, but you guys don't even understand what that means. I had to explain what that meant. Personal growth leading to business growth and all the other growths. See, because without personal growth, what do we get in life? Here's what we get. We get the same thing we've always gotten. And here's the thing, if we get something different along the way, it will get taken from us because we have not built within ourselves the knowingness so that we can get it. While I was at my New York conference summit, there was a guy there, a guy named Donald D. So he's a financial coach, and he helps people in their finances to start, get their first million. That's what he said. He says, well, look, your first million, you should give it away. That blew me away. He said, you should give it away. Here's why. Because once you get it, you should give it away to make sure you can do it again. I said, wow. I should make $1 million to give it away. See, that comes from knowing. See, because you can't make $1 million and it be a fluke because you got to be able to do it again. If you can't do it again, then you don't know how. You had some belief that got you there, but then when you had to do it over, you didn't know how, because it comes down to knowing. It's not faith at that point. You couldn't have faith to do it again. You got to have knowing. And in essence, because Donald is an engineer, he says, well, engineers, it's about logic. It's about system. It's about, hey, bam, bam, bam. If I do bam, 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 it should work because that's how systems work. So before I let you go, I'm going to just kind of like recap here, because faith, what is faith? Faith, I believe, faith is a knowing that just because you don't see it physically, you can produce what you see spiritually so that whatever's in you comes out. That's what I believe faith is. Faith is not a religion. Faith is not going to church. Faith is the manifestation of what you say. Faith is a manifestation of what you think. But more importantly, faith comes down to this. It's the manifestation of what you do. That's the truth about faith. And maybe we'll have a part 2, because I believe that there's more that can be said about faith. So guys, if you got value from today's program, would you share this with your friends? And be sure, look, if you want to develop yourself, I've got some amazing books. I'm getting a lot of feedback on these books that's saying, man, these books are really helping me. I've got Living Life on Your Next Level Faith, and we have Beyond Tax Strategy, the trilogy. These are books that will help you to develop your faith, your life, and your money. So guys, I thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you back in tomorrow. God bless, and I'll see you soon. Peace.
This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it